Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's Lunch-n-Learn Live with Lynn. I have a great topic that I want to share with you today, and it is all about women and investing. Such an important topic and something that many women really are kind of, like intimidated by, scared of. Oh, that's a bright light. And I am trying to make all this money, retirement, investing stuff more, approachable, less intimidating, because it doesn't have to be. Like, if we break it down into more simple terms and we provide simpler resources and we don't use all this jargon that the industry loves to use, it's actually much more consumable and it's easier to understand and easier for us to grasp, men and women. But in this case, obviously, my channel's called Her Retirement. So I talk to women and try to help them overcome any obstacles, any challenges, navigate uncertainties, and just try to embrace the thought of money and thinking about money as a tool to help us live that better, more intentional, and financially secure retirement. And investing is one of the best ways, or probably the best way, to build wealth. Unfortunately, it's not something we are taught at a young age or in high school, especially later Gen X women and boomer women. It just wasn't part of the conversation in our households. My mom talked about money, but she didn't know about investing. She was a third grade school teacher. She was a dutiful wife for several years. She kind of followed my father's lead. She didn't even know if her name was on a commercial property that they bought. Like, my dad just did the transaction. She handed over some of her retirement savings to him, and he went off and bought the building. And lo and behold, her name wasn't on the deed, but she didn't even know enough or wasn't bold enough and wasn't brought up to be part of that conversation. So yes, now things have changed quite a bit. There's a lot of women out there talking about this, a lot of social media influencers, people that have written books, women advocating and empowering women. And that's what I'm trying to do at Her Retirement. And so if you've watched any of my other lives or any of my other YouTube content or any of my 122 podcasts, which I offer and do each and every week, there's a lot of information out there, is my point, to learn. You just have to make it a priority. And I would say that understanding investing is a really, really big priority. I was proud of the other day when my 21-year-old girls said, "Hey, Mom, we need the paperwork to open our Roth IRAs. Because if I do nothing else, I want to encourage them and support them on their journey to financial confidence, financial independence, and hopefully financial freedom at an age that they choose to be free," right? When they choose to stop exchanging time for a paycheck. And maybe they won't, like me. I love what I do. I'm inspired by it. But I don't have grandkids yet. So maybe when the grandkids come along, all bets will be off and I'll be like, "See you, ladies, you're on your own." But seriously, no, I think I can educate and be part of this movement that I've created for a very long time. And speaking of my movement, it's called More for Her. And I think one aspect of the More for Her movement is making sure women understand investing. So there's two phases of investing. There's investing prior to retirement, which I call the accumulation phase. And then there's investing after you retire, in retirement, and that's called the de-accumulation phase. So in the accumulation phase, you can withstand the market ups and downs that are, part of the investing environment. Part of the landscape of investing is that Markets go up and markets go down. But historically, the stock market has averaged somewhere around 10% over time, which is the best place that you can put your money. You have to be able to withstand the ups and downs, and you can't do what one of my friends did, which was she panicked, during one of the downs, and she took all of her money out of her 401k, had to pay taxes and penalties, and she doesn't have that money today. Now, obviously, she used it for something at the time, but because she panicked, she was like, oh, I'm out. We women tend to be more conservative, so sometimes the stock market ups and downs doesn't align as closely with our conservative nature. But guess what? When women invest, we are actually better investors because we are more conservative and we're more likely to stay the course. And we have probably smaller egos where we don't think about, oh, I can beat the market like many men and people do. They think they can time the market. Market timing, unless you're a day trader and you're watching it every moment, that's risky business. Now, speaking of risky business, it's, we tend to be risk averse. However, pre-retirement, you want to try to overcome that, right? Because you want to invest for that growth. You want to get that 10% growth. Leaving your money in cash, which many, many women do, does a complete disservice to your current and future self. Because when you have money in the bank, you are getting, well, historically, right now, some high yield savings accounts are doing pretty well. But historically, savings accounts have basically you're going backwards with your money because they don't keep up with inflation. So investing in stocks and bonds has been what's called an inflation hedge. So inflation, if it's averaged, 2.5%, 3% over the years, and your stock market is returning on average of 10, and let's say worst case 7, you're still up, right? You're still up 3.5% or so, 3.5%, 4%. So that's why it's called an inflation hedge, because it not only keeps up with inflation, like your cost of living increases from Social Security, but it goes above and beyond inflation to get you that return. However, it's complex, right? So you can purchase books. There's several great investing books. The Simple Path to Wealth is one. There's Boggleheads for investing. There's several investing books out there if you want to learn about investing. And I encourage it. I think you should learn more about investing. But if you want to be a DIYer, definitely pick up a book on investing and take a shot, right? Take a shot at investing. However, you don't want to invest until you've paid off, I would say, most of your debt. I'm not a big believer that you have to have all your debt paid off before you invest. But if you have some really high interest credit cards, it doesn't make sense to be investing while you're paying 18% on a credit card. Also, you need to have an emergency fund before you invest, 3 to 6 months worth. Okay. Now, oftentimes people don't think about this. Women don't think about this, that they have a 401k, they're an investor. It's just that your 401k provider is managing those investments for you. So I know I was guilty of this. I put my money in my 401k, didn't really pay attention. I kind of looked at, they're called age-based funds, target date funds, and I kind of invested based on my age and kind of took the advice of probably Fidelity at the time. Didn't really pay much attention to it, didn't really look at it. And in hindsight, I think I should have hired an advisor to take a look at my 401k and say, is my 401k okay? Because maybe I could have allocated it differently. Maybe I could have done better performance-wise, but it's water under the bridge. But if you have a 401k and IRA, you are investing. If you have a health savings account, not to be confused with a flexible spending account, A health savings account is triple tax-free. The money goes in tax-free, the money grows tax-free, and you can take it out in retirement tax-free. It is probably the best investment for retirement that a woman can have. And there are private HSA companies. If you work for yourself, just reach out to me and I can connect you to those. But that's probably the best investment you can make because of the tax advantages that it offers. And you use that money for healthcare expenses. And if when you get into retirement, you don't use the money for healthcare expenses, it just converts to like a 401k where you take the money out and you pay taxes. So you just lose the tax advantage if you don't use the money for medical. But based on the fact that, you know, the typical average woman spends over $150,000 in retirement on healthcare expenses, like out-of-pocket healthcare expenses, it's likely that you would use that HSA money, that HSA investment fund for your healthcare expenses. Now, one little caveat is just because you put your money into an HSA does not mean it's invested. So you need to make sure when you're putting your money in there that it is in fact being invested. So, you know, investing, bottom line, it's a really good thing to do. You need to get comfortable with the risk. You need to get comfortable with the markets going up and down, and you need to do it for a long time. If you're just getting started and you're older, it's okay because every little bit helps. But if you have a young person, you can do some calculators, Google calculators, investment calculators. Show a young person in your life that even putting a couple $100 a month into an investment, how it can grow over time, because they have the power of time. And that's the one greatest benefit to being young, is that if you can squeeze out a little extra money, you should pay yourself first, either in your 401k, if you're getting a match, IRA, a Roth IRA, put money in there and show someone that you care about the power of compound interest and the power of investing. So very important. So speaking of women and investing, I have this guide, Women and Investing. I want you to snag a copy of it in the links under this live. It's got a bunch of statistics and information that I think will be eye-opening and that I believe every woman should be aware of. So let me go through some of those. First off is that women represent a growing economic might. Women right now historically have been underrepresented in investing, but this is changing, and it's changing pretty quickly. And you know, there's various cultural and societal reasons that contribute to this shift, but there's a more simpler driver, and that's rising economic might. So for example, in 2014, women controlled $14 trillion of wealth in North America. In 2020, that grew to $22 trillion. Okay. Personal wealth in the United States is controlled by 51% of women. Intergenerational wealth set to be inherited by women over the next 40 years is $28.7 trillion. It's a lot of money. Women are key decision makers for families when it comes to financial decisions. 96% of women have primary or shared responsibility for family financial decisions. Now, typically that represents the day-to-day decisions. Not as high a percentage of women are involved in the long-term financial decisions and the investing decisions, retirement planning decisions. And that's why I encourage women to get involved. You know, they say, oh, my husband's got that. He's figured it out. He's got a plan. I'm not sure what it is, where it's located. You need to know. 70 to 80% of consumer purchases are driven by women through power and influence. So we are making a lot of purchase decisions. We are spending money, but are we saving and investing it? There's a reason why there is a saving, investing, and retirement savings gap for women. I'm not going to go into all those reasons today, But yeah, there's a gap. So we have to make up for that gap. And investing is one way to do that. Women are definitely becoming more important drivers of income and wealth for their families. The percentage of U.S. households where women are the primary breadwinners, 40%. Private businesses in the U.S. owned by women, 30%. Management, professional, and related positions held by women, 52%. Women are also highly educated, okay? We make up the majority of recipients for these various types of degrees. 61% for associate's degrees, 57% for bachelor's, 60% for master's, and 52% for doctoral degrees. Those numbers surprised me, but I'm really, really glad to see them. Now let's talk about the wealth gap. As the economic power of women continues to grow, how are we going to handle this increasing wealth? And it's one of the reasons I created Her Retirement, is to help women understand how to manage the wealth that they have, the wealth that they'll come into through inheritance, and even how to manage their wealth gaps. If they don't have enough, how do they manage? What do they need to do? But in order to know if you have enough, you need to do those projections. And I've talked about that before. It's so important to understand your net worth, understand your wealth, your net worth, your cash flow, your gaps, either now or in retirement. Like your nest egg, your wealth, your investments. 2 questions. One is, how are you going to turn that into a retirement income when you're no longer collecting a paycheck? And 2, is it enough? Okay, and then when you know that, you can make some decisions based on understanding that income gap that you might have in retirement. It might mean increasing your wealth pre-retirement in various ways. It might mean delaying retirement. Lots of different strategies and things that you'll have to figure out, but it's better to figure it out 5 years, 10 years before retirement, not when you turn 62 and you're like, oh, I could collect Social Security. Oh, I could retire now. What's my plan? Do it before then. And that's why I created the Her Retirement platform, to get women thinking about this stuff before the day they retire, right? When we have time to plan, time to prepare, okay? Women typically set aside 9% of their income as savings, while men save at a lower percentage. So men save at 8.6%, women save at 9%. And certain research does suggest that women have the potential to achieve higher investment returns. In a study, women achieved a rate of return that was 0.4% higher than men. So back to that, women do better as investors, that according to Fidelity. But there's always a but. We have some gaps to fill. Women score lower on financial literacy tests. This was in 2015. Women scored, consistently lower than men on financial literacy assessments. And, this actually is what can harm us. And this is why I've created a retirement well-being and retirement/financial literacy platform, to change these numbers. And in this literacy test, boomers scored higher, maybe just because they've had a lot more life experience and time to learn. While we save more, right, 9% versus 8.6%, women invest less. One survey shows that women invest 40% less than men. This according to a company called Wealth Simple. Another research from a company called Lexington Lowe showed that women are 35% less inclined to invest $1,000 versus their male counterparts. 35% less inclined. I think it goes back to knowledge, right? Financial literacy, our conservative nature. We're risk averse. Many things. So let's talk about these low numbers of female investors, investors. And how can we, as an industry, financial services, financial education, financial literacy companies, improve these numbers for women? It's why I get up every morning. It's my purpose. Insights from a recent study conducted by New York Life Investments reveal several different reasons that women might not be getting the support they need from the financial services industry. Another reason I created the Her Retirement platform. One is poor performance, 33%. Women do not change investment advisors only due to poor performance. There are additional, more intricate reasons at play. Part of the reason for this is probably due to the fact that 62% of women claim to have specific requirements and difficulties, and they're not being addressed. 29% of women lack personal connection with a financial advisor. So there's financial advisors. Sorry, that was a little bug crawling across my monitor. Luckily, I didn't scream. It was a little bug. Anyway, 29% lack a personal connection with their financial advisor. And I hear this a lot. I talk to a lot of women and they say, yeah, I got on the phone with my big company investment guy. And he just was like, you got more money for me to invest, Barb? Like, it's just, that's not the conversation that most women want to have, right? Some are kind of like, yep, here's my money, how's it going, blah, blah, blah. But you have to have that personal connection, right? Advisors don't take the time to get to know their female clients and have those conversations. And then 27% stated poor customer service, which, that's a big bucket. Perceptions of women and investing. The perception is that 40% of women believe that financial professionals treat women differently. To the extent that I've heard women say they've been in a meeting with their financial advisor with their spouse, and the financial advisor pretty much keeps eye contact with the male spouse, to the extent of almost avoiding or ignoring the woman. And it might not be like even that. It could just be like talking about male subjects, right? Cars, sports, golf, whatever. I know a lot of women golf, but in this case, they're specifically doing the social chat that if you're not a bro, it doesn't really relate to you. So there's subtle ways that women can feel left out of the conversation. 36% of women feel they're patronized by their financial advisors. I've definitely heard this. A woman I was speaking with said she talked to an advisor and she asked about Social Security, and he said, oh, honey, literally used the word honey, you'll be fine. Just take Social Security whenever you want. Wow. 30% feel that financial advisors are less likely to listen to investing ideas from a woman. So that's being dismissive, like, yeah, you don't need to do that. 28% of women feel that financial advisors unconsciously or consciously push women out of financial conversations. 26% of women feel they have less access to financial education. Oh, yeah, that's my domain. It's an industry built by men for men, so I can see how women have felt like they were excluded. But I have created an entire platform for women. And you know what? I've had some guys on TikTok say, why are you leaving men out? Oh, just for women? What about us guys? I'm like, really, dude? Anyway, 26% of women find that professionals find it hard to relate to women. So hello, did you not spend enough time with your mom or your sisters? Like, Yeah. And that I don't even know how you teach that skill. Um, I don't know. Do you relate to your wife if you're married? And 24% say that financial advising is a man's world, which, it's sad. I don't know, something like 80% of advisors are men, and a lot of them are like over the age of 50. So it's a very, it's called stale, pale, and I don't even remember the third one. But yeah, it's trying to get more women into the industry. But again, we weren't raised to go into financial services, right? Into money. So we're trying to get more women into the industry, but it's a hard industry to be in as a woman because there is a lot of that, the bro club. And it's hard for women to feel comfortable working in the bro club. So, based on all those numbers, it's understandable why 29% of females believe that a female financial advisor would be better able to understand their needs. I think there's other opportunities to improve the way women are served also. It's really important that the industry offers women a full range of investment options to suit their interests, sustainable investing, that type of thing. Women want to be met with on their terms, so advisors need to say, what is it that you want? What's in your head? What are your concerns, your challenges? There's so many other things, and you can grab a copy of this guide. Research indicates, as I wrap up this discussion today, research indicates that there are 4 distinct groups of women who have varying approaches to investing, each with their own specific needs. Okay, there's your suddenly single group, women who have experienced separation, divorce, or the loss of a spouse within the last 5 years. There's a married partner breadwinner, women who hold a professional job and are the main source of income for the family. There's a married contributor, women both professional and non-professional who typically contribute to the household in ways other than financial. And then, of course, the single breadwinner. That's a professional and non-professional woman who lives alone or with a single family unit. And I think understanding that there's these different types of groups and understanding the role that you play in each of these groups is important in charting your own course through growing your money, saving your money, investing your money, growing your money, spending your money, creating that income in retirement. All of these things are so closely tied to just having a basic understanding of finances, number one, but number two, investing. And I want to close out by saying that investing pre-retirement is definitely different than investing for retirement or in retirement. Investing in retirement, you need to be concerned with market volatility and something called sequence of return risk. You need to change your strategy. That's the bottom line. Because in pre-retirement, you have so much time where you can withstand the ups and downs, and you're earning a paycheck. But in retirement, you're living off of your investments typically. Now, you may have some guaranteed income sources like Social Security and a pension, which is great, because if you can live off of those guaranteed income sources, maybe you can stay a little more aggressive in your investments and continue to grow your money. Maybe you want to leave a legacy for your family, so keeping it invested and seeing it grow is important to you. But the longer time horizon you have, the more you can take some risks, right? And you also have to understand the different types of investment products, because there are a lot of different investment products out there. And this is one of the things that I do in my investing course. So you can go to the Her Retirement website and you go under courses and you can take it's a two-part investing course. One part gives you the overview of investments and investing, and the second part is strategies around investing for retirement and how you can de-risk your portfolio, your nest egg in retirement, which is really important because if the stock market goes down 30% and you're relying on that investment, that nest egg to create an income for you, your income could go down 30%. Now, I don't know how many people would have the stomach or, just the practical ability to take 30% less income in retirement. But if you don't want to subject yourself to that kind of risk, there's other strategies, other ways that you can insure your income against market loss. And I educate about those things. So I'm not here to provide any personal advice in terms of investing. I'm just here to educate you on the opportunity that investing represents and the opportunity for you to have more, okay? Have more wealth, have more happiness, because I do believe when you are financially secure, you're happier. And to just enjoy that better, more intentional, financially secure future, whether you plan to retire, semi-retire, or never retire. Investing is a key part of your equation, a key part of your lifestyle, your current lifestyle, and your future lifestyle. And the way to grow more wealth that you can draw income from when you decide to stop working is definitely through investing. So if you're not familiar with it, grab some books, go take my course. It's like $37. And you can check out all the other retirement courses that I have. They're all priced the same. Commit to being a student and a steward of your health, wealth, and happiness. And I do believe when you know more, you can have more and you can live more. So thanks for listening to this week's live. You can pick up this copy of these investing statistics and check out my course on the Her Retirement website. Have a great day. Thanks for listening.